In my time as a real estate agent, I have tried a lot of lead sources. Some were really good and some straight up sucked. Today, in this video, I'm gonna rank every lead source that I have ever tried in my real estate career and rank them from worst to the absolute best. If you don't already know me, hi, my name is Mike Smuts. Me and William Rojas started this YouTube channel and our society, which is a group of realtors that get together in mastermind to teach people how to be better at real estate. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe and consider joining us at the Elite Achievers Society. Links in the description, or you can go to eliteachieversociety.com. Okay, you might know or have some kind of guess at what I'm ranking as last place. And that, for me at least, is going to be Zillow leads. Depending on what type of real estate agent you are, this one's either going to completely shock you or you're going to expect this one to be at the bottom of the list. That one, at least for me, in my personal experience, was Zillow leads. Now, I didn't even pay full price. I had a lender partner when I was early in my career convince me to go half and half with them on a couple zip codes with Zillow leads. They were trash. It was just people that wanted to open doors. They would ghost you. You had to sift through a lot. And I regret it. Even though I was only paying pennies as opposed to what it would be to buy it today, those same zip codes that I was paying $200 a month for, $400 a month total split because I split it 50-50 with a lender, are probably, to get the same amount of leads, would probably be about $1,000 a month total, or even probably more than that. Zillow leads have gotten expensive. Not only are they expensive, but they are trash. Now, they are switching to Zillow Flex. If you are on a team with those, tell me what your experience is. I've heard that they are not that good at quality. Because think about it, what's a Zillow lead? Somebody's on Zillow, they click, I want to see this home, and now they're getting connected with some random agent. In my experience, it was a lot of people saying, hey, I want to see this home, and then a lot of people would ghost you, a lot of people would fake information, and I think all in all, I paid for 12 months of it. I think I got 3 closings out of it, and one of those happened 2 years after I got the lead. So not a good ROI. I mean, technically I broke positive, but my return on time just wasn't there. So I would recommend, especially if you're a solo agent, steer far clear of Zillow leads. Now, they say you're supposed to learn from your mistakes and not make new ones. Well, I did it again. You would think if Zillow leads were trash, you would think, oh, Realtor.com leads are probably bad too. Not me. I had to find out for myself. So I signed up for a year commitment of Realtor.com leads. Again, splitting it with that same lender. So we're both kind of dumb in that situation. But we split it with that same lender. And it was very much the same as Zillow leads. I would say the quality of leads were actually a little bit better. I got more closings. I got more leads for my dollar. Again, this is going back 3 years ago now, so the price has gone up. I would not recommend it to anyone besides maybe some big teams. As a solo agent, steer clear from Realtor.com leads. Next on the list, I have Opcity. Opcity is owned by Realtor.com. The only difference is instead of paying per month to own a zip code, you get a lead and you pay I think it's like something ridiculous, like 35 or 40% referral fee at closing. It's great for newer agents. If you're brand new in the industry, I recommend signing up to that. I'm going to put this in the same bucket as like HomeLight, let's say. You know, these pay at closing leads with the referral fees are good. I will say HomeLight, I take that back. I put HomeLight above this. So Opcity, and then we're skipping to the next one. It's HomeLight, because Opcity's all buyer leads owned by Realtor.com. HomeLight is seller referrals, and I do still to this day get a lot of opportunities from HomeLight. So I recommend HomeLight. I do not recommend Opcity. I do recommend Opcity if you're brand new in the business. My experience with Opcity was I would get a lot of crappy, unqualified leads that are looking for like dirt cheap houses. So I stopped doing Opcity a long time ago. I do know some agents that were able to work those, get some closings, and they got some nicer price points offers. Now, I did not get that, so I quit Opcity. HomeLight, that's why I'm putting it a step above, listing leads, and they actually, in my opinion, are getting some good leads. Now, you know what? You do have to follow up. In my opinion, most of the time they're not right away, but it is a referral pay at close. So I would recommend for new agents, sign up for both. Recommend really for anyone to sign up for HomeLight. The next one is going to be geographic farming. Geographic farming, I mean picking a neighborhood, doing all the math, and then sending out a postcard once a month. So I started doing that because that's what these big agents were doing in my market. And I said, I want to be just like them. I want to start marketing. So I signed up for one of those services. I started paying a boatload of money each month to send out postcards. I sent stopped. I did not get any return on it. In fact, I think I even brought another lender, not the first lender, but another lender to actually start splitting the cost for me. And I'm sure if I continued, it would have built. The issue was I was in an early point in my career. I was probably a year, maybe a year and a half in, and I did not have the funds built up, because with farming, you have to be able to do it for 12 months at a time before expecting any return. And I just wasn't in a spot in my business to let that happen. So that is why farming did not work for me. Of course, it's working for a lot of agents, and I do want to dive into it another day. If you have the money to do it, do it. But I would urge you, take your money from farming a neighborhood and actually pour it into your database instead. Use something like AM Cards. If you don't know what AM Cards is, there's a link below to check it out. It is a referral link. It helps our channel for referring you. But there's a link below to AM Cards. Or if you're an LPT agent, sign up for LPT Plus. You get it for free inside of LPT Plus. If you're curious about LPT, there's also a link down below to talk to us about it. But we're not here to sell LPT. I would recommend taking that money, and this is what I currently do now. Take that money and send it to your sphere of influence. Send it to the people in your database. Farm your database. The same way you would farm a neighborhood, farm your database. Instead of it being a stranger you've never met, you never spoke to, you don't know if they're thinking about buying or selling, at least your sphere is full of people that know, like, and trust you, are going to refer you if you keep your face in front of them. So take the money you would have spent sending it to who knows who, just sending it out, spray and praying, and focus on people who are actually going to give you business, be your sphere of influence. That would be my recommendation. Now, who do I think farming's for? Again, if you're a bigger team, you get a big budget. Let's say you got a couple thousand where you can be like, okay, I can throw this away and not expect anything for a year, invest it in the future. Yes, I think that's who this is for. But again, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, if you're not watching this video and you are in that position to do that, awesome. Let me know how it goes in the description below. But if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you're in the earlier stages of your life or your career, which I mean years 1 through 5. In years 1 through 5, I would say stay away from farming unless you have like a really, really good year 1 and 2 or something, and then roll it in. But like, I would say take your money, put it in your sphere, and do some other lead generation ideas. Okay, so we're getting to the tipping point in the list of where I stop doing things. Everything I just talked about, meaning I kind of stopped doing. Everything that I'm about to go into, I do. At least do a little bit. I don't do everything consistently. The very last 3 or 4, you're gonna wanna wait and check out, because those ones I do on a regular basis, and they're the best lead sources I've ever recommended. But these, I do a good amount. And the reason they're lower on the list is because I don't know if I can recommend them to everybody. So this one's going to be Facebook ads. I use Facebook ads a lot. They're really good for getting both buyer and seller leads. The issue with Facebook ads is the return is pretty low. Not in money wise. You can get really good ROI if you get good with Facebook ads. It's just you need a lot. They convert at maybe 2%. So for every 100 leads you generate, there's going to be 2 deals in there for you if you follow the systems right. Even lower if you don't do any good systems. And that being said, they're also 6 to 18 months out. So Facebook leads, they're really good at building your database. If you need deals now, we all want deals now. There's going to be some better places to spend your time. If you are getting deals now, start spending some here. I have a Facebook ad budget, running at all times, building my database, and then focusing on following up and filling that database. So I do get a decent amount of deals from Facebook. I also use Facebook to retarget my current leads. So say I call one of these other leads that are coming up, they're in my database, they're getting targeted with a Facebook ad. Same with people I know, like, and trust. Anybody in my database is getting Facebook ads put in front of me. So I'm using retargeting to keep my brand voice in front of me. That's kind of what I did. Instead of farming, I kind of put that money into sending it to my Sphere postcards, that is, and then I put the rest into Facebook ads. So I recommend it. If you're brand new in the industry, learn it. The tool I recommend, highly recommend for running Facebook ads, and I use it. I'd never recommend a tool that I don't personally use. The link is also in the description for a 7-day free trial. Again, it is affiliate link, but it gets you a 7-day free trial. Let them know I sent you. You're gonna love it there. It's gonna be StreetText. StreetText is awesome. It's who I run all of my Facebook ads through, and it does sync directly with Follow Up Boss, which I get a little ahead of myself. So everybody in my Follow Up Boss, if they have certain tags, are getting retargeted with certain things. That is why I love StreetText. It also just makes running ads and dealing with the Facebook Ads Manager just 100 times easier. So go check that out. 7-day free trial in the description below, and we'll move on to the next one. The next one is kind of like, I'm gonna do it as a dual thing. It can be looked at as two things. There's an organic version of it, which is free. It doesn't cost any money, which I would recommend to everybody. And then there's a paid version of it that if you have the extra money, I would recommend maybe dabbling in. And that's going to be Google. So whether it's Google through search engine optimization, from a website, I personally use Agent Fire. You can find a link to them in the description below. I use Agent Fire for my website. I have some pages that are ranking really well for certain keywords in my area, so people will find me organically, and then they'll convert through certain pages on that site. Same thing goes for Google pay-per-click. I have that site built out, and some of those pages I run for certain search words. So some are organic. The difference is organic is slow. It is free, but it's slow. It's harder to build up. It's more competitive. Or pay-per-click, if you throw some money at it, you automatically jump up. So I have a mix of both strategies going. I recommend to everybody focus on the organic side, but when it comes to pay-per-click, I don't know if I can recommend it to everybody. Again, what you're gonna have to do, and I'll do a video on this, is going to be, we actually have a full course that we're coming out with soon on business planning. You need to do a good business plan to decide which one, if any of these, you should decide to do. Next one, and this is actually my favorite one. The only reason it's not higher up on the list, I would put it as number one if it was quicker, and that's going to be YouTube. I think every real estate agent should be doing video in some way or another. So I highly recommend doing it in nurture emails and video text, yes, but obviously this is the generate leads. I think the best way to generate leads is going to be doing YouTube videos like what I'm doing here. Now you don't really need much. If you have a cell phone, this camera is better than 90% cameras I had access to when I got started in YouTube. Now I've done plenty of channels all over. Of course, the one you're seeing here, and even my YouTube one for generating business, yes, I do have one, is, a little bit more high tech, but I started a YouTube channel all the way back in 2010, and the phone in our pocket outweighs some of the crappy cameras I had back then. And so really just know that your phone is all you need to get started. Start shooting videos on this, post on YouTube. I would recommend looking into SEO courses. I highly recommend Channel Junkies. A link to Channel Junkies down below. Subscribe to them. I learned everything I know about YouTube from them, so let that channel be a free resource. And if Channel Junkies happens to see this, hi, I took your course, I read your book, love you guys. Okay, moving up on the list, let's talk about circle dialing. Circle dialing is one of those that I still do on a regular basis today. Of course, if you can't tell, we're in the ones that I'm using all the time. I love circle dialing. I think circle dialing is good. You should be doing it. I just don't do it consistently enough. In my circle dialing, we mean you get a circle of all the phone numbers around This can also be done by door knocking, but you hit and target the homes around your listing. It doesn't even have to be realistic. It could be somebody from your office. It can be somebody you just ask permission from another agent that's in a different office. And you go, hey, can I market your home, right? And you use that to leverage it to talk to homeowners that are nearby. Hey, did you know that your neighbor down on 123 Main Street is selling? Hey, did you know that your neighbor down on 123 Main Street, we just put them under contract. They have multiple offers. The only issue is blah, 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 right? You're using that to get in front of, as an excuse to get in front of the neighbors. Circle dialing is the most effective. If you want to find the tools that I use for that, I use Batch Dialer and Batch Leads. Links are in the description. Again, they are affiliate links to help us out, but they do get you some cool free things, free trials actually, and some discounts if you use the link below. So do that. It helps us out and helps you out at the same time. But I love it. Still do it. I grab lists, and they're also going to be, the same tools are going to be useful for the next 3 lead sources. So these 4 lead sources, all done by Batch Dialers, Batch Dialer and Batch Leads down below, so check them out. Next one, and I'm gonna speed through these, but I still do want to give my personal experience. Next one's gonna be probate leads. I think probate leads are good, and I put them obviously higher above circle dialing, just because the idea is, if you can tell throughout this list, we're going from people that we have no idea if they're looking to sell, and then we're going to people that we know with more certainty are looking to buy and sell, right? So circle dialing, you're just calling neighborhoods. You have no idea if they're gonna sell. You know, you've never spoken to them before. You're just shooting out in the dark and hoping you get somebody. And it's like, they're great database builders, and if you're good at following up in the database, you will get a ton of deals from that. But I like probates a little bit more, because what happens is when somebody dies, and there is a reason that this is a little bit lower. We're a little bit above the halfway point, but not into my favorite. The last 4 are my absolute favorite lead sources, so we're not there yet. I'll tell you when we're at, I'll do a countdown in our last 5. But probates they're good, because when somebody dies, a lot of times they're going to sell the house. I think it's like 65% of the time the house does sell, so there is a high likelihood that they're going to sell. The reason I don't like probates is because they're a little bit harder, because the length of time and the conversion is a little bit longer, because you have to go through probate court, and you're also competing with people like investors. Investors target these, and you're gonna have the same issue in the next 2 that I bring up. But I don't like probates for that reason. I still do call them. I put them in my rotation sometimes. They're just not a constant rotation. I would personally circle dial more, but we do know that they're looking to sell. If you have the stomach for it, you could be a resource, help these people out. They do need help a lot of times from a professional like yourself. Okay, next on the list is going to be absentee owners. If you asked me 2 years ago, absentee owners would have been like on the number 2, number 3 spot in the list. Now they're getting moved down to, this is number 7. Oh, we got one more after this in the top 5. But the reason absentee owners down is the same reason with probates. You don't know if they're looking to sell. A lot of times they are looking to sell if you call them in the hot market, which is why a couple of years ago they were really good. Now you're also these same lists. And again, you can, in Batch Leads down below, you can pull all these custom lists that I'm talking about right now. But just know that you're going to be dealing with a lot of wholesaler investors, which is, so you can bump into angry people with absentee owners. I still like it. It's better than grabbing a neighborhood raw for no reason and calling it, but it's not always in my rotation. Yes, I call them. Yes, I rotate them. It's, that's just my experience with them. But absentee owners are great to add in, just to boost up your contacts and boost up your database as well. I recommend it to a lot of people, but just know, compared to these top 5, there's going to be some more competition because you have investors added into that mix. Okay, last one before I get into my top 5. This one I kind of go back and forth with, but this is pre-foreclosures. So this is people that just found out that their house is going into the foreclosure and the bank is about to take it away. Now that process can take a little while. Of course, it's not going to be immediate, but it means they're in the first stages of foreclosure, right? It means they haven't made payments on the house. I like these people because they have motivation to sell. The issue is targeting them can be a little bit hard because you can't just straight up say, hey, I noticed you're in foreclosure. And also you're going to get investors and wholesalers kind of in the mix. The other issue is that people without money can, not be able to do things to the house, and they're going to pinch pennies. So why it's not hot, it's not one of my favorites. I'm putting it very high in the list, just like absentee owners, because I think it's a great lead source to go after. Now, real quick, before I get started into the top 5, I do realize I forgot one that I want to kind of include in the absentee owners. So kind of honorable mention here is going to be for rent by owners. They're kind of the same thing as absentee owners, except with absentee owners, a lot of the time it's either a vacation home or they currently have a tenant in the property, where for rent by owners, actively trying to find a tenant for the property so the property's sitting there empty. I like these. It's going to be the same as a absentee owner, same conversation, just at a different stage in its cycle, because a lot of times you can catch them and they'll go, oh yeah, you know what, I am thinking about letting go of it, and it's a lot easier to sell because there's no tenants in place. Okay, countdown. So these are my top 5 lead generation styles. You made it this far in the video, comment, I made it to top 5 below if you made it this far. While you're down there, like and subscribe to our channel for more great content. So number 5 on my list is going to be what I call a likely to list. Now, what is this? Now, this is a algorithm, whether you're using something like My Plus Leads, link in the description for a free trial, or better yet, the tool of my choice is going to be Batch Leads again. This is any tool that uses some algorithm that looks at people's signals and is able to tell you who's most likely to list. So it's a lot like circle dialing. In fact, I use very, very similar scripts, but with more certainty because you're looking at these algorithms that are able to tell you with like 70, 80, sometimes 90% certainty that those people are going to sell in the next 12 months. You're not pulling a random cold list. There's reason behind why you're calling them. Now, I might not understand what that reason is, but the algorithm, AI taking over the future, knows. I love these. I don't do regular circle dials anymore. I only do these likely to list in place of circle dial. I will, what you can do in batch leads, and you can set any type of filters you want in batch leads. These are just different varieties of lists you can pull, just by the way. Links in the description again. But you're able to say, hey, batch leads, I want to pull houses that they've owned for more than 5 years, that have at least 50% equity, that are only in this zip code, and, use your algorithm to tell me which of that list that I already boiled down to a smaller list, tell me who's the most likely to list. And you can play with it to boost it up. It's like a percentage of how likely or whatever. And that's the list you call. So it's going to be more highly targeted than just spraying and praying. That is what I love. Again, link to Batch Leads is down below. If you use Batch Dialer, which I recommend, I love Batch Dialer. Batch Dialer is my favorite dialer right now, and I've tried a bunch of dialers. I'm actually going to make a video on the best dialers, and just like this, and rank the dialers. If you're watching this, you already know Batch Dialer is the one I'm using. If you use Batch Dialer, it syncs directly to it, so all you got to do is click a button, send it to Batch Dialer, start calling. And I love that. All right, number 4 is going to be open houses. I know what you're saying. I hate doing open houses. Open houses are boring, but if you're the kind of person that, let's say you told me, Mike, I don't want a cold call, and any of these ideas in this video I'm not going to do if it involves picking up the phone. Well, open house is going to be your best one, besides the last one, number 1. Open houses I recommend to every agent, whether you're brand new or you're seasoned. I think if you have highly desirable listings, you should be holding open houses on them. Not only does it, here's what it does. Right? Of course they're getting buyers from it, and if you're a listing agent, somebody who wants to primarily focus on listings, which I do, don't get me wrong, I'll take some buyers, but I am like 75% listings. What it does is it gives you an opportunity to go above and beyond and show the neighbors what you do to market their home. So what I do is I run a mega open house event. I will have a listing go live on a Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, and have it not go live and allow showings. It's like an active no-show with a open house either Saturday or Sunday or sometimes both days. Get balloons, like 20, 30 branded yard signs. I have one of those wacky waving inflatable arm filling tubing, the ones you see in front of car lots. Like I hang lights, streamers. I make it a full out event, and then I call, or if you want to, door knock the neighbors, invite the neighbors. You want the neighbors to at least see what you're doing, and then when it's their time to sell, they're going to think of you. So if you do this right, you can get listings out of it, not just buyers, but you can also get a lot of buyer traffic. Also, you get really good referrals when you actually do this. You get really, really, really good referrals out of the seller because they just see you go above and beyond. So I recommend this to a lot of people, but especially newer agents. Do as many as you can. I know we don't like to work weekends if we don't have to. I don't want to work weekends. I hate doing open houses, but I mean, the efficiency is just there. Down to the top 3. Number 3 on this list is going to be expired listings. I know people are probably expecting this. Expired listings is kind of my bread and butter. This and number 2 that we're going to go to in a second, and obviously number 1, are what makes up so much of my business. I love expireds. Why? Because you know that they want to sell. Their house was on the market. They went through the trouble of taking photos, signing with a realtor, putting on the market, letting strangers in their home. They went through the trouble. You can also get expired listings really quick. If you're good at it, now don't get me wrong, most of it's going to come from follow-up, but I've numerous times called them first contact, set an appointment for that evening, went over there, signed a listing, had a listing up. I went from not having a lead to having a listing in one day. And of course, I've practiced that skill. We could talk more about expired listings. Comment below if you want to talk about expired listings. We'll do a video. If you leave a like in a comment, we'll definitely do a video on how to do expired listings, but they are amazing. Number 2, this goes hand in hand with expireds, for sale by owners. I know you're expecting that. For sale by owners are amazing. In fact, I think they stand for fastest source of business out there. FSBO. Now, of course it stands for sale by owner, but fastest source of business out there in my mind. I built my business alongside of expireds on for sale by owners. For sale by owners are amazing because they're looking to sell their house. Just like expireds, they've raised their hand. Now, of course, expireds and for sale by owners are going to be more competitive, but it's also predictable. Expireds, you have to pay a little bit to go find their info, which is why expireds is slightly below. For sale by owners, it's free. Go on Zillow, go to your county, your market, and then put for sale by owner, and bam, you have free contacts. That's it. With expireds, I'd recommend having a dialer, all this stuff. For sale by owners, I got started by just picking up my phone, going on Zillow, hand dialing, and calling them. And that is why I think for sale by owners is the best source, besides number 1 that we'll talk about in a second, but the best source for especially newer agents that don't have a big budget. And last but not least, the number 1 lead source of business that I recommend to absolute every single agent is going to be sphere of influence. I know that sounds basic. Before you click off of the video, I just want to let you know that your sphere of influence, if done correctly, can get you tons, and I mean tons of deals. What's your sphere of influence? It's anybody that you've talked to that knows, likes, and trusts you and knows that you are in real estate. So anybody that you've worked with a past job, your friends, your family, your past clients are your sphere of influence. If you target these people, approximately 10% are going to transact. So of course you're not going to get every single one. 10% of your database is going to transact in 12 months. So you're not going to get every single one, but let's say you get 5% of your database. I have a database of, to keep things simple, 1,000 people. I think I have like 1,500, but I'm going to do 1,000 so I can do quick math. 5% of that, so 10% is 100. 5% of that's 50 deals. If I did nothing but market that database and I did it so efficiently that I was able to get 5%, so half of all that's going to, heck, let's say I don't. Let's say I suck and I just do a half-ass job and I get just the bare minimum of them. And instead of getting half of those 100 that transact, I only get a quarter. It's still 25 deals and I don't have to actively prospect. That is why Sphere of Influence is number one. Focus on it, build it, nurture it. It's going to feed you for the rest of your life.